Hey guys, just got the new spindle in for the Cub Zero turn, and I could have gotten some cheaper ones. I could have put it on the trailer and taken it over to the local repair center, but the hassle and the wasted time and however long they'd have it, it just seemed, to me anyway, easier to order a spindle and do it myself. I ordered one directly from Cub Cadet. A lot of the ones that I saw that were cheaper, where the blade sits here, was more like a star pattern. And this is the design of the blade mount. This kind of yin and yang looking thing. So I wasn't 100% sure that one of the aftermarket ones would work, and I didn't want to waste a ton of time having to send it back and then inevitably ordering the OEM one anyway. So this was, when I ordered it, it was $103 and some change including shipping. Well, the packaging receipt that I got, it was $97 including shipping. And one thing about this, actually two things about the replacement. First off, the bolt holes are not threaded. They claim, and I'm going to find out obviously, that the bolts that hold the spindle on are self-tapping. It is aluminum. It's pretty thick aluminum. So we'll see. You may have to tighten it down a bit, back it out to remove the chips, tighten it down, back it out, tighten it down, back it out. But we're going to find out because I'm going to add the installation of this to this video. The other thing that I wanted to mention is you cannot put the blade on upside down due to the design. So it kind of idiot-proofs it. It will only go on one way. So it has to be the right way. The downside to an OEM spindle is just like when you buy parts from Chevy, Chrysler, Ford, whatever. You order an EGR valve, you don't get the tubes, the bolts, the gaskets, whatever. Typically that stuff is ordered separately at an additional cost, of course. So luckily for me, the nut that holds the blade on is intact. And I obviously saved the 4 bolts to mount the spindle to the deck. And I did notice that this is a nice clean edge here, as to where the one that failed is rounded. So I don't know if something got caught in here and forced this apart. It's very possible. So I may have took it over there and they told me it's not under warranty anyway because of abuse or whatever the case may be. So I'm glad I did it this way. I would have liked to had the blade nut and the 4 bolts for the spindle mount, but it is what it is. So I'm going to mount this now, bring you along, let's see what happens. It's a bit dark in here, so I hope you can see this, but what I'm going to start by doing is I'm just going to clean up where the bolts are going to go so that I have a nice, tight fit. Otherwise, it's very possible that the stuff around here will decay, the bolt will get loose. I doubt it's going to fall out, but I don't want the spindle wobbling and causing future issues. So obviously the pulley is going to go on the upside of the deck. And yeah, it fits perfectly just as I'd hoped. And I guess you couldn't expect more from an OEM part. The bolts that hold the spindle on are 10mm. The heads, that is, you'll need a 10mm socket to get them off. I'm hoping that the old rigid impact driver has enough butt to do this job. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of WD-40 on each bolt because it's going to be cutting threads, and when you're cutting threads, oil is your friend. And since there's more than one bolt, we're just going to not even snug it up and get it started. And we'll get all 4 in place before we tighten anything down. Otherwise, you'll have a hard time lining it up. Okay, that actually cut in pretty nice. I was a little concerned that the bolt heads might strip, or the bolts themselves may pull the threads off, because I don't expect these to be of stellar quality. But apparently they're up to the task. And yeah, we're going to oil every one of them just to make sure. Alright, so they're all in pretty well. And I read some reviews that people were complaining that it didn't include the bolts. And there were no threads in the new spindle. But if they would have read a little deeper, they would have seen that the bolts are self-tapping and you just have to do what I'm doing here. They don't need to be super tight enough to keep the spindle from wobbling, and then just a bit more. But yeah, that's it really. If you have to do this with a socket by hand, it's going to be a nightmare. An air tool may be a little too much and you may wind up stripping it. And I'm actually surprised this rigid, what is it, an R86034 impact driver took care of it. So now we're going to put the blade on. I am going to put a little bit of WD-40 on the threads. In the future, that should help take it off when it's time to sharpen the blades, or God forbid, replace another spindle. And as I said, by design, the blade can only go on one way. You have your flat washer that goes on first, and then the nut. And if you have to take one of these off by hand with a wrench, good luck. Impact is the way to go. Electric, pneumatic, but I've tried this with a wrench, and just by the sheer nature of an impact gun, because of the impact and the vibration, it breaks the nut loose and it makes it so much easier. You can't even believe how much easier. So now we're going to tighten this down pretty good, because I don't need a blade flying off in the middle of nowhere. I do use this machine. I don't baby it, but I don't abuse it either. I don't hit rocks. I have hit some tree branches, maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 diameter, and it just runs right through them. But yeah, after seeing, as I said on that other spindle, something may have happened that would have been my fault anyway. And my compressor is off. Be right back. Okay, compressor is on. And if you didn't see the other video where I was crying about the spindle going bad, the nut size is 15/16. That may seem like overdoing it big time, but this is a Snap-on anniversary 1/2 inch impact gun at 175 to 100 psi. Yeah, I could probably break this, but I'm only running 125 right now, so we're good to go. And basically that's all there is to it. Everything is nice and tight. Spins nice and free. So now all I have to do is put the deck back on and I can go cut grass. So guys, I hope this helped you out. Any questions, comments, complaints, leave a message and I get back to everybody, or at least I really try to. So enjoy your day. Today is June 22nd, 2022, and we'll talk soon. Take care now. One more point, guys, and I apologize, I should have touched on, is there was a plastic cover over the chute side spindle pulley and the opposite side. There's no cover on the center one because it's under the machine, and I guess they felt that it was safe enough in that location. But that's going to go on like so, and it is held down with 3 10mm bolt heads. So I wanted to try to cover all the bases in case somebody's doing this, and I didn't want to leave anybody screwed or in the dark. But yeah, you have to take this cover off to access the spindles on the outboard sides and to change a belt or whatever the case may be. You'll never get that belt off with these spindles on. I'm so sorry, guys. Pro tip, LOL. When you take your deck off or put it on, it is very cool to have these arms down as far as they'll go. To achieve that, by yourself anyway, rig up a strap, a rope, a super heavy duty bungee cord around your height adjustment pedal. Set your height adjustment on your knob to 1. Pull this knob backwards. Pull this pedal backwards to the rear of the vehicle. And that's going to drop these arms, and it will make it extremely, alright, not extremely, but it will make it much easier to get the deck off and on. Otherwise, these arms get snapped up to here, which means you have to lift the deck up to this position to get the pins in. And that'll make you say bad words. So, just another point that I wanted to share. All right, guys, talk soon. Smell of fresh cut grass cannot be beat. Well, I guess it can, but yeah, it's pretty awesome anyway. So yeah, we're good to go. No vibration, no weird noises. It's cutting well. For the last time, I promise. Guys, have a great night and we'll talk soon. Take care.